Hello again, everybody. Today I took my main colony of Lasius niger out of hibernation. I've turned the fridge up to 12 degrees and they've been at 12 degrees for a couple of days, and at 2 o'clock this afternoon I took them out and attached them to their new setup. What you're looking at here, this is little drops, tiny little pinpricks of honey. This went in the bottle top that's swinging on a piece of string. And into the small outworld that I've attached along the pipe went this cotton wool with some maple syrup in it. And this is the first 6 hours. So they've been asleep for 3.5 months. And this is them getting accustomed to warmth after 3.5 months of being in a fridge. There are a few that were already out and about in the nest that weren't part of the big pile up, and they became active almost immediately. But with the big pile up, as you can see here, what happens is that they start to detach themselves from the edge of the pile up. The ones nearest the edge feel the warmth and start to become active first. And as they move away, the next sort of layer becomes active after them. So, yes, this is ants just waking up, feeling the warmth, starting to look around, starting to communicate with each other and just get their bearings and start to slowly push the first workers, the first foragers out from the nest. And this forms like a little wave that starts to move down their existing nest. They haven't yet left the nest that they were hibernating in. And this is a top-down view, so you can just see that how big the pile up of ants is, because over the course of this video you'll see this emptying down as more and more of them wake up, and you get a general idea about the numbers that are awake and how many are moving around at this time. So at 2:10, the first worker found the front door, and you can see the dirty and the clean part there. This is the new part that's attached, and at 2:10 they were through the door. At 22 minutes past 2, the worker found the entrance to the outworld, and at 22 minutes past 2 they first emerged into the outworld to have a little look around. I just about managed to get focused in time to see her pop out. She had a very little brief look around, went back inside, thought about it for a couple of seconds, and then came out for another look around. But she still didn't stay out for too long. I managed to catch her doing a little bit of wandering around here nearest the nest entrance. But slowly, they started to push out and explore more and more. And you can see more of them starting to wake up. This is like about 2:30 now, so half an hour after they came out of hibernation. The numbers that are active are starting to grow, and it hasn't taken very long at all. As I said, this is within the first half an hour of them coming out of the fridge. I love this shot actually of the doorway. I've said before, I really enjoy watching doorways, watching them, the comings and goings in and out of doorways and over little ledges like this. I can watch that for ages. And here's the front door now at 2:30, the door between the new part of the setup and the old part of the setup. And as you can see, the numbers here are starting to grow. They are exploring everything. They even obviously explored their old setup again. And then by 2:50, so 50 minutes after coming out of the fridge, they were in the new nest and running around the new nest, exploring that. From this point onwards, there were always at least 2 or 3 workers in the new nest, and as the time went on, the numbers that were exploring the new nest grew. So I'm hopeful that they might think about moving in fairly soon. what I'm going to do is not water the old nest. So as it dries out, which might take a couple of weeks, it will force them into this nest due to humidity. So this is the view at about 3 o'clock, and you can see that the big pile up is starting to untangle a lot more by this point. There's more foragers, more movement around the nest, workers sort of running around generally all over the place, communicating with each other, and just sort of the colony's finding its feet, re-exploring all these areas, laying down the pheromones to say this is home territory. And here's the front door again. You can see a lot of activity around the front door. So at this point, they still haven't found the other entrance out of the outworld, but here very quickly that was the first time a worker went down, but they only dipped in and out, and this was at 3:50. So 3:50 she went back in, and eventually she ran the whole length of the tube and found the small outworld. So she's found it, comes out to the small outworld at 3:50 and starts looking around that, and at this point she's on her own. She's the only one. It strangely enough took her over an hour. It was 5:10 here until she finally found the cotton wool with the maple syrup on it. And even then, actually, here she does a bit of a walk past before she finally decides to settle in and start drinking the maple syrup. It was very strange. She went up the walls and round the floor, but it took her quite a while. But finally, here we go. This was 5:10, like I said. So this is 3 hours and 10 minutes after I brought them out the fridge. The first worker has found their first sugar of the new season and is taking the first drink that any of the ants are getting this season. And as you can see, she's very pleased to be getting this first drink. She looks extremely happy and extremely pleased to have found sugar. So she drank for about sort of 10-15 minutes, and it took her a little while to work out the route back. But obviously this is a very important moment. This is the moment when the rest of the colony will get to taste sugar again for the first time when she does get back. And actually a second worker had just come into this outworld as she's about to head back. So as you in a minute here, that's the second worker, and there's the one with the very full gaster. You can see how full her gaster is in that shot, just heading back. So she just passed the second person, or the second ant, to find the second outworld, and here she is heading back down the tube, back towards the nest. And they were actually really quite efficient at the tube navigation, mostly heading in the same direction. Occasionally they would turn around and go back on themselves and then turn back again, but generally they were fairly good at navigating the tube. So as you can imagine, when she arrived back in the nest, there was absolutely massive excitement from the first ants that came across her, and it was there was just a giant pile-on for trophallaxis with her. Three-way trophallaxis. They tried it to 4 of them to get in at one stage. There was 5 of them. I've noticed this happens with Lasius niger when they come back from a feed when the colony's hungry. When more can't actually manage to pile in and take part in the trophallaxis, that's when they sort of give up and go following the pheromone trail back to the source to find out where it's come from. And actually, while all this was going on, I missed another important moment. I missed the first worker going down the string. This is happening at 6 so this is now 3 hours and 5 minutes, and they'd found the honey down the string. This was the first worker to find the honey. And actually a really strange and hilarious thing happens here. In that after she's drunk, she can't work out how she got here. She can't work out how to get back off this bottle top. And the craziest thing happens. She is now, that was 6:05, she is going to run round this bottle top for the next 35 minutes before anything else happens on this bottle top. This worker will go round and round and round. And sometimes she even does come back into the middle and has a look round the middle. She sometimes drinks a little bit more, but still fails to realise that she's got to go up the string, and she'll just go back to the outside of the bottle top and start doing circles of it all over again, going round and round and round. And this was quite a crazy situation that went on, like I said, for 35 minutes. And it's not even finished after 35 minutes. This is what makes it even more amusing, because all that happened after 35 minutes is a second one arrived and started drinking. And after this second one had finished drinking, two of them proceeded to go round and round and round and look for a way off the bottle top. And it wasn't until 7 o'clock that the first one worked out and found their way back up the string. So this took them 55 minutes to sort out how to get back off this bottle top. So yeah, we're coming to the end now. This is sort of 8 o'clock. The activity in and out of the entrance to the outworld, as you can see here, is pretty much non-stop now. There's a stream of ants heading in and out, heading backwards and forwards from both of the food sources. Very active, lots of communication going on. And in a second now, I think I'd get a shot just inside the front door, where the old nest and the new nest, or the new part of the setup, join. And as you can see, the activity here is, again, it's constant and flow of ants in and out. The communication's done, the pheromone trails are laid. By this point, there are ants going up and down the tube, going up and down the string to the bottle top, in and out of the outworld. They're going all around the new nest. They've become very, very active. And I would say that at this point, probably about 50% of the colony is now awake and active and running about. Here's the maple syrup. As you can see, multiple ants are now feasting on the maple syrup in the second outworld. And then, like I said, there's a little shuttle going backwards and forwards along the pipe. It's great to watch them running along the pipe, actually, as the shuttle goes backwards and forwards. And it's the same on the bottle top. There's lots of ants going for the honey on the bottle top. And they, by this point, actually there's some lovely shots of them sort of tearing little pieces of honey off. The ones over on the right of this picture, it seems to get like a big mouthful and like to start tearing it right off the drop. These are only little pinpricks of drops, and actually it's taken me ages to make this video, but I've looked at the honey. By midnight it was all gone. But there's still maple syrup left at midnight, and there's still ants on the maple syrup. And as you can see, they've completely figured out the string. They know the way in and out by now. This is by 8 o'clock. So it was only, like I said, they only found their way out at 7, but by 8, an hour later, it's completely marked. And here finally is inside the nest. This is what it looks like. As you can see, the dog pile has really shrunk in size. It's probably only half, if that, of what it was at the start. And the activity around the nest now has spread out. They're active all over the place. They're, as you can see, getting water, bringing back the sugar. I haven't put any protein in yet. This was just sugar today. And there you go, everybody, the diary of the first 6 hours. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time with probably the next colony out of hibernation. Goodbye, everybody.